planets moving around. And sorry, the dog wants in on the video. Welcome back to our video developer blogs, where we're starting to get into answering questions from the community about our new title, Galactic Ruler. So hopefully you guys saw our introduction video. Now we've got a list of questions, and we're going to be starting today with general gameplay questions. There's been lots of questions. We're going to try and break them down to answer them by chunk or by section sort of thing. George, you want to give us what's our first gameplay question?
Well, it's a simple starting question, but I think it actually gets into a more complex topic that we're going to touch on. From Discord, Schmitty asks, how similar will this be to Stellaris? And I think where it says Stellaris, you could also put in a underscore and put in a number of other games that are excellent games in this genre. And one of the things I will let Chris answer this question in more detail, because I have to admit, even though I have Stellaris and have had it for years, I have not had the chance to devote much time to it beyond looking at pretty little screens and so on. And in fact, I have probably 2 or 3 dozen space-oriented games in my Steam library, most of which have either not even been started up or have had very little time, because I enjoy playing our own games, and I have only limited time sometimes to play a lot of other games in detail. But one of the things, before Chris answers about the details of what makes us different and what we're looking to do that's new, is also this concept that we're getting from some players and some people who've been looking at our announcement about why are we doing a game that when there's another game in the genre, or what are we thinking our competitors are going to be like? And even though we might occasionally use the word competitor, there's so few games that are good strategy games at all that are released in a year. You can't really say that, I'm only going to, in this decade, I will only buy, Stellaris or Galactic Ruler because I can't afford to spend, $40 and buy 2 games. That's sort of a crazy type of thinking when you look at first-person shooters or console games where there's new games released on a regular basis, and 10 different games that are all in the similar genre. I think good strategy games are few and far between. We're looking to add to that canon, and we hope that people will be able to have a couple of good space strategy games in their library, and we hope to be one of those.
And we have experience with that sort of thing, that people used to always ask us, why make a World War II Supreme Ruler when there's already Hearts of Iron? And we're always quick to give very much the same response of, why not buy both? That we all enjoy really good strategy games. So yeah, I agree with George. To the more direct question of the similarities and differences, similarity, it's going to be in space. There'll be planets. There'll be a solar system. It also has some similarities to Stellaris in terms of a galaxy system planet. However, in a game of Stellaris, assuming you're playing the latest version, I know that the UI and the gameplay has changed a lot since its release. When you're managing a planet in Stellaris right now, you have a very simplified view, and it breaks down to, I'm going to forget the name of it, that they have their sectors, and you can control a little bit the way the population works on a given planet to change the output that you're going to get from a planet. That is quite different than the system that we have always used of having facilities on a map that generate commodities that have relationships, and that you're not generally concerned with your direct workforce, that you put down industries. We also have a map of the world, that it's still cylindrical, much like we've used in our previous Supreme Ruler games, but Stellaris' world is a banner picture with buttons across it, that none of their you never get closer to their planets than that preview pick and seeing, oh, this one has jungle, an area I can't get yet because I don't have the technology for it. That is not the approach that we've been planning, is that we have multiple worlds, that you can be in a Supreme Ruler style view of your planet, gather up some ground forces, send them to the system level to be transported, use a ship to move at the galaxy level map, tell it move from this system to that system. On arrival, you look around, find a planet, move your ship, send your units down. They now arrive down on the planet and engage in combat if it's already a habited planet, Perhaps you're finding an entirely empty planet and you're starting to build new, which goes to one of the differences from the Supreme Ruler series to the Galactic Ruler series is we will finally be at a point where we are building cities, which was an option that was never available in any of the SR games. And again, that similarity that we have to Stellaris of having a galaxy system planet makes us very different than, say, a Sins of the Solar Empire or a Gal Civ. In some of the research that we've done, honestly, a game that I have taken some inspiration from, going way back, is the first Imperium Galactica, which that goes way back. It's got to be 20-year-old game. Control at the planet level, including units moving around. Control at a system level, including units moving around. And, sorry, the dog wants in on the video. And also an expanding map was the way they had it. Now, our map will be, the galaxy will be a fixed size once generated, but within that you will explore around, find systems.
And I think the next two questions we got on the list from Van Daedrar on Discord and Kairuk, I guess, also tied directly into what Chris was saying. Van Daedrar asks, will there be simultaneous maps? Does time pass in orbit when you're in the ground and so on? And really using our game engine, this is definitely the idea of having everything in the galaxy always running all the time. And I think it's one of the things that makes the scope of Galactic Ruler interesting. You can be looking at a specific planet and the battle that's going on the planet, and there could be 10 battles going on 10 different planets all at the same time. Our game engine, one of the things about our game engine that's superior to, I think, a lot of game engines out there is we support this sort of large scope and this sort of tactical size of gameplay, and we're going to definitely take advantage of that when in Galactic Ruler. Karuk asks, when we invade a planet, does it turn into SRU? I mean, basically, we're still building on the Supreme Ruler Ultimate engine of being able to have tactical battles with land, air, sea units at a scale that you rarely see with the capabilities of other game engines.
And then the addition of space as that extra layer where you can move around. Sorry, looking at the next questions, because I'm wondering if, I've got all sorts of ideas in my head of things that we may end up talking about. Will we be able to build planetary defense structures that can attack ship structures in orbit? Some of that is undecided at this point. We recently had some discussions about how we want to model space stations and upgrades to space stations and how that relates to ownership of the planet and the bodies that orbit it. And I think I'm going to take a moment to sort of expand some of the decisions that have been made. The most obvious is that we are throwing realistic scale right out the window. That the difference in size from a gas giant planet to an Earth-style planet to the size of a star in the center of a solar system is the orders of magnitude simply can't be represented in a game without doing some fudging of all that. And you'll find this in any game that if you talk to an astrophysicist, they'll talk about scale issues that have been played with. Did you want to talk about the FTL at all?
Well, I think what we'll do is we'll sort of wrap it up today because we've gone on with a number of questions. So as you can see, there's lots of questions, lots of answers that we're happy to talk about. So join us in the next video as we get into a little more depth on the gameplay.